On today's show, there's a first time for everything, right? But what happens to a rookie turkey hunter? Oh my, oh my.
That's awesome.
Well, it's getting busy out here.
And next, you'll have a front row seat to one of nature's grand spring dances, a rare sight except on Minnesota's Lake Osakis, where western grebes go a-courting.
Whipping up something for the kids, young and old.
Later, a wild game treat awaits you when we go wild in the kitchen with Chef Jim and Laura. Oh my, good eating, huh? Our Minnesota Bound Classic this week looks back at a float trip down the Root River on April Fool's Day. But there was nothing foolish about the fishing. Those stories and more, next.
Nice fish.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's Select GMC dealers.
Hi, everybody. Raven and I welcome you to the show. As you know, we're fond of saying, introduce a kid to the great outdoors. But sometimes that story gets turned around. Yes, turned around. Travis Frank has that story.
The turkeys see you and they have really good eyesight. If they see you, they know there's a predator around.
Cam Martin knows a thing or two when it comes to hunting turkeys. He knows silence and camouflage are key.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
And he knows where to find the birds. An hour before sunrise, Cam and his dad Corey set their decoy and slip into their blind. At 12 years old, this turkey season marks Cam's 6th in the field. So far, he's 5 for 5 bagging birds. Cam's call brings the woods to life.
They roost in their trees, and then when the sun comes out, they fly down, and it's so cool you can hear of their wings.
That anticipation hooked Cam on his very first hunt. But this excitement can't change the fact that this hunt will be different.
Lost Grandpa this summer to battle with cancer. It's unfortunate, it was way too early.
Cam's grandpa and hunting partner, Paul Roddy, passed away at the age of 59. But before he left, he created a legacy in his life spent outdoors. He mastered the hunt. He built a world-class taxidermy business. But most importantly, he inspired a young hunter to follow in his footsteps.
I always wanted to hang out with Grandpa out in the field and out in the woods. And that was Grandpa's passion, so that became his quickly.
Cam hunted alongside his grandfather every year.
Cam's kind of set on carrying on the tradition out here.
This time, he's in the turkey blind with his dad.
That's awesome. There's like 3 of them.
Slowly, the birds come to the call and put on a show.
Get your cover.
He was dancing on top of that thing. Nice shooting.
We got one, Papa.
You heard him in the blind. I mean, he was pretty pumped, you know, like, this one's for you, Grandpa. Pretty special. It was special to the whole family.
Yeah, my legs are a little tingly.
Let's check this thing out, huh?
Got a beard?
Little one.
Yep, look at that little thing.
Little stub.
Stubby little guy. The streak continues.
With his dad by his side, Cam's tradition lives on, just the way his grandpa would have wanted.
Nice job, buddy.
Thanks.
Proud of you. Pop would be proud too.
It's way out here.
When we return, we'll be spectators to a unique sign of spring in Minnesota, especially on Lake Osakis. We will watch those dancing grebes. Stay with us.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers, Ice Force, Connecticut, and by Star Bank.
Welcome back. On Lake Osakis in western Minnesota, there is a springtime phenomenon when the western grebes begin to do their courtship dance. It's something to behold, and we were there.
And it's way out here. And what we're witnessing right now is the birds are feeding. When you'll see two birds together, it's very possible it's still a young bird from last year.
Wow. Did you see that one that was right over here a second ago? Holy cow. That was amazing. This is my first western grebe sighting. I can't believe it. This is a first for me and I'm just so excited.
Excited? Understandable. Quick, snap a picture. For Eileen Sabis of Minneapolis, an amateur wildlife photographer, the bird in her viewfinder is not only an interesting subject, it's a rare Minnesota sight, the western grebe.
And that's the noise that they make?
Yes, that noise it's making is he or she is saying, I'm right here. This is where I'm at.
Never heard of the bird? Understandable. As its name implies, this grebe species is common in America's West, but very uncommon in Minnesota, except here on Lake Osakis, which attracts the state's largest concentration of these western visitors.
When I first came up here in 1999, it was in the fall. I did some fishing, and right before the grebes got up to leave to fly west or wherever they go, there was a bunch of them, and I was just intrigued. Their activity and how smart they are, and I've been hooked ever since.
So hooked on grebes, Jim Snyder and his wife Bunny offer pontoon tours for bird lovers interested in this quirk of nature. That's when springtime inspires western grebes to return to Lake Osakis from their coastal wintering grounds out west.
There's a nice adult pair right there. One just dove. Two just dove. A lot of birds. There's got to be, what, 200, 300 birds here. Well, it's getting busy out here. It's funny how it's quiet and all of a sudden everybody gets busy.
For birds, spring is always a busy time, of course. Time for the mating game. The game that inspires one of nature's most awesome moments, the courtship dance of the western grebe.
And when you see it, you'll always remember it.
And when the mating dance is over,
And this is one of their favorite nesting spots.
and when the moment is right, and tourists are invited to watch from the Osakis observation deck.
This is a good spot to see grebes.
Osakis is proud of its feathered tourist attraction.
The mayor proclaimed this will be the official Minnesota home of the western grebe.
As the days of October grow short, these unique birds will eventually leave Osakis and head for warmer haunts. In the meantime, it's almost like they practice waving goodbye.
Elk and bacon, he said two of my favorite words right there.
Coming up, we're going wild in the kitchen, and that's always a tasty treat.
Just going in.
Let's see how this is
Could
gonna
be a
go
little
down.
sloppy. Oh yeah, look at that.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Borderview Lodge.
Time now to go wild in the kitchen. You know, sometimes when you say wild game, kids go, yuck. But what happens when you say wild game and kids go, we want more? Laura, Schara, and Chef Jim have the answer.
Today we're getting wild in the kitchen, whipping up something for the kids, young and old. And this is Chef Jim Kimberg from Firelight Grill House and Cocktail Bar. And today I understand we are making elk sloppy joes.
We are Elk Sloppy Joes.
I am so excited about this recipe because it is a favorite, I think, of every kid, young or old. It doesn't matter, right?
True. This is a great way to introduce the kids to wild game, but it's also something that everybody loves.
All right, so what are our steps for getting started?
Well, it's all about the ground elk, so that's what we start with. You could substitute in venison. We're going to saute it in a little bit of bacon, keep it moist, give it that little flavor of smoke. And we're going to sneak in some vegetables too.
All right, elk and bacon, he said two of my favorite words right there. Okay, let's get started.
All right, so we're going to get started by sauteing off a little of that bacon. That's 4 pieces of bacon.
4 pieces of bacon.
Yeah, I cut them up in fine little pieces.
Yes, this is finely chopped here.
That's going to keep that elk, because that's a very lean meat. It's going to keep it moist. It's also going to give it some nice smoky flavor as well. Intention is not to crisp up the bacon at this point. We just kind of want to render it.
We ready for the elk?
We are. So the bacon is rendered down. You see how I'm just kind of breaking that up?
Time for the veggies.
A half a cup of celery, half a cup of onion, and a half a cup of carrots.
All right, so we have some apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar, give it a nice little tang. 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and then pepper to taste.
This here, is this tomato paste?
That's tomato
This is
paste.
probably unexpected in Sloppy Joes.
Honey, so you get that sweet and sour kind of thing, and that also helps kind of draw kids in too. They love those sweet flavors. That's 1 cup of ketchup. We got a half a cup of mustard.
Love mustard. And last but not least,
We've got some beef stock.
now it's starting to look like a real Sloppy Joe here.
Yes, it is. So we're just gonna continue to simmer this down, stirring it occasionally. Once all this liquid is kind of reduced down into the meat, it's ready to go.
All right, it's time to plate up the Sloppy Joes.
It is time.
So there you have it. We always say introduce a kid to the great outdoors. Also make sure you introduce a kid to the wonderful taste of wild game. Jim, I'm going in for a bite.
Just going in.
Let's see how this is
Could
going
be
to
a
go
little
down.
sloppy. Oh yeah, look at that.
Very good.
Is it good?
I have it all over.
Holy cripes. They are fighting fools.
Still ahead, a fishing float trip on April Fool's Day. What we caught was no joke. That's next.
He is a beauty. Look at that guy. Oh, man.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Northland Tracker Boating Centers, Evinrude, the official outboard motor of Minnesota Bound, and by Totem Resorts.
Welcome back. Time now for our Minnesota Bound Classic. It was on April Fool's Day when Bill Planton and I floated the Root River in southeastern Minnesota. But guess what? it was not a foolish thing to do. All right, let's go find us some trout. On a cruel spring day, dreary skies and unseasonably cold, we float Minnesota's Root River, holding rod in hand with the hope all anglers forever carry.
There have got to be a lot of fish in this neck of the woods because they just aren't up into all the trout stream areas, I don't think yet.
Flowing amid limestone bluff country, the Root gets its name from the Dakota Sioux, who called it Hutcun. English translation, Root. One of the largest streams in Minnesota Southeast, there are two more reasons why on this day, fishing companion Bill Planton and I are willing to suffer numb fingers, runny noses, to cast into the river. One reason is brown trout, the other, smallmouth bass.
Oh, got one. There we go. Oh, another nice smallie.
Is it a smallie?
Yeah.
Good job. Trout and smallmouth. You never know what you're going to catch. What was once a railroad crossing of the Root is now something else.
This is the bike trail. It goes from Lanesboro to Wayland. And yeah, thousands of people are on that thing every year. Boy, he just smacked it hard though.
I got one on too.
Are you kidding?
No.
Oh, it's a smallie.
Is it a smallie?
Yeah, it is. Whew,
I don't know, I haven't seen mine yet.
Yikes.
Oh. It's a smallmouth.
You got one too?
Yeah, golly.
Holy cripes.
Cold water, they are fighting fools.
Oh, nice fish. Oh, come here, baby. How's that?
Good job.
Oh, what a sweet.
I'm still fighting this dude.
Oh, man.
He is a beauty. Look at that guy.
Oh, man.
Huh?
I would call that a pretty nice double. I think the combination here in the Root River is unique in that we have trout and smallmouth bass existing, coexisting in an area where they're both spawning and they're both reproducing without having to be regulated by the DNR or anybody else.
We interrupted a pair of courting geese, but they didn't seem to mind. And our special fishing canoe easily handled the Root's gentle rapids.
There we go.
All right.
Did he smack it hard?
Yeah. Oh, he's beautiful. He's beautiful. Careful. Oh, isn't he a dandy? Despite the icy current and icy breeze that carried us downstream, trout seemed to be lurking in every likely haunt.
Oh, there we go. Ooh, good fish. Nice brown. Oh, he's so brown. My goodness.
He's a big old brown fish.
Oh, look at the color on him. Oh, he's a nice fish. Every time I go down a river, it changes. And I've yet to be on any of the waters that are in this area when I didn't appreciate the changes.
Oh, I tell you what, we're the only ones out here. Indeed, some fishing days can't be judged by a chill wind and a gray, threatening sky. Dandy, Billy boy.
Oh, you know, it's getting late in the afternoon, the feeding time.
And I couldn't help but think as we drifted away of those who centuries ago floated the river's path. Certainly, we weren't the first to realize a bad day on the Root is not so bad at all.
Hasta la vista.
All right, take me home.
Country road.
That was a good day, though, huh? I'll never forget that trip because we caught smallmouth bass and beautiful brown trout out of the same spot, huh? Go figure. Well, that about does it for us. Remember, introduce a kid to the great outdoors, take them on a float trip. I'm Ron Schara, of course, always the star of the show. Now she knows. Raven, Raven.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.